All you would see is pimples. I'm skin and bones and I have no energy. And my whole life, I just never really socialized much. Literally, if you're like, this is what not a YouTuber would look like, it would be me.
Today, we're joined by our first guest, the king of YouTube himself, Jimmy Donaldson, AKA Mr. Beast.
I'm gonna spend the next 50 hours buried alive in this coffin. Probably the dumbest thing I've ever done.
We recorded this in Greenville, North Carolina, and it was astonishing to see Jimmy's operation running full force.
Some videos we use 100 cameras, some videos we use 10, some we need to be able to zoom in 100x, some we need 100 vlog cameras for hide and seek. There's a lot of weird things in here.
Coming up, Jimmy shares important learnings from his incredible journey.
I really didn't have any friends. Like I said, tons of pimples, no money, no like dad. It was just like my mom who was working all the time. It's a miracle I'm here.
And tells us some behind the scenes stories from his epic projects.
Everything we film in these videos, every single frame, 50 million people are gonna see, sometimes upward to 200 million.
What Jimmy has built is unbelievable. But after talking to him, the remarkable success he's enjoying actually seems inevitable.
Videos don't just randomly go viral. It's not like it's just like a little blindfold throwing a dart. That video gets views, so why this video? We just got done filming a video for Darman's channel. I got pied in the face.
So did he.
Yeah, he seems to have made away scot-free.
Yeah,
I think I've got a little bit of whipped cream on my shirt.
Yeah.
I'm lucky I dodged it. You guys let me off. Let me off easy.
And here we are. What's up, boys?
Yeah, we got an amazing tour today as well. That was incredible. Thank you.
And
man.
this is the first episode that's going up.
Yeah.
This is the very first one.
Okay, so are you gonna explain to them what they're watching? Like,
Yeah.
what is this podcast?
Yeah. We're warming
We're going
up.
to let you do all that.
Okay. All right. Well, this is the Dhar and Jay show. We are nice guys. We like to inspire people, and that's why we made a podcast. I assume, right? Something like that.
That's not far off. Well, yeah, no.
nothing to add.
we were just talking to your team, and I was describing like why Dhar and I wanted to do this show specifically, and it was the idea that like there's a lot of podcasts out there that are controversial, they're pressy, maybe there's a bit of gossip there.
Yep.
And then there's a lot of shows that are dedicated to creators, social media growth, monetization. The gap that Dhar and I saw that we thought was really special is people know you as the creator, but a lot of people don't know you as the person. They don't know you as the journey you went on, the behind the scenes struggles.
He's like, I don't like to talk about the person.
Okay, so it's one of the more personal ones.
We want to know more Jimmy than Mr. Beast.
Okay.
Yeah,
and that's kind of the theme for the Dhar and Jay show.
Totally. To us, it's important that everyone who's watching, whether it's young fans of yours, of Dhar's, of anyone who's in our community, that they get to know how they can also follow in your footsteps in their own way.
Gotcha.
And I think that's special to us.
Okay.
How does that sound?
No, it sounds good. I want to see it in practice. So, so you're starting off here, and then do you know like your other guests?
Yeah.
What they'll be?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to build hype for
Do
the
we
podcast.
give it away? Yeah,
Yeah.
we've got the D'Amelio sisters, so really excited
okay.
for them.
We got some mystery guests, I think, that we'll say.
Mystery guest. All right, he's gonna save it. All right,
Mystery
we're
guest,
only
okay.
gonna.
But we got an amazing slate coming out.
Wow. So yeah, you
But-
do have access to all the top creators. So that's what will be interesting too, is because you're just like, I mean, so if Charlie's next, that's literally the most followed person on YouTube, most followed person on TikTok. You're just going down the list.
Yeah.
That's good.
We might actually need to get your phone to text some people to come on the podcast too. I'm sure that'd be a lot easier.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll have to do one for each one of your channels. So we saw the flags
I'll just
outside.
put, something else. All right. Well, there's the hype for your podcast.
All right, thank you,
Let's jump
thank
into
you.
it. So what
Thank
do you
man.
want to talk about?
Whenever anyone starts talking to you, they start talking about your first video and when you first posted and all of that. For me, it's like, I want to know what Jimmy was like before 12 years old and what you were like growing up as a kid. What was, what were you like before that age? Because when I think about myself or Dhar thinks about himself, I was a kid who followed the rules. I was obedient. I was a teacher's pet. That's what I was before 10.
To be honest, I've literally never had anyone ask me about anything before 12. Like my life basically started when I made my first video. Everything before that it's kind of like a blur in my head because it's almost like irrelevant. You know what I mean? Yeah. I remember one time my mom told me a story like she would put butter on my waffles, but it would melt, and I'd like throw a fit because I'd be like, "There's no butter on the waffles," when I was like 5. And so she'd have to put it on in front of me, or because if I didn't see it, I didn't think it was real. I just remember Legos. That story, I don't know. I was always just really obsessed with baseball, to be honest. Before YouTube, my obsession was baseball. So I was playing baseball like all the time. And it's literally when I dig deep back, it's just like all a blur. You know what I mean? That's so long ago.
One of the things that we've seen talking to a lot of people together is that a lot of people are not living their first dream. They're living their second dream or something that came out of that.
Like successful people?
Yeah, like you look at like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he wanted to be an NFL player And then he went to WWE, and today he's the highest paid actor in Hollywood. And with yourself, it's like, we've heard that you love baseball.
Yeah,
like,
I wanted to play baseball, like in college and go on. But then I got Crohn's disease. And so I just gave up on that dream instantly. I was like, oh, well, this isn't a thing anymore. When I turned like 15, 16, I just randomly lost like 60 pounds. I started going to the bathroom like 20 times a day. I was in intense pain. And, you know, one day you can hit a home run. The next day you can barely hit it out of the infield because, you know, I literally just shrank down to like skin and bones. And over the course of like 3 months, and it's because my digestive tract started attacking itself. I got Crohn's disease, and baseball just kind of went out the window then.
And how do you pick yourself back up? I mean, I know you're such a young person at that age, but like, how do you find motivation to try to go after whatever your next dream is? Or was YouTube not really a dream?
YouTube was always it was like baseball and YouTube, so I did both. I loved, like, baseball was the thing I did, and then when I wasn't playing baseball, I'd make YouTube videos on the side. But then what kind of happens once I got that, I was like, a lot of times I'd have to skip school because my stomach would hurt so bad, and I'd just lay in bed all day. And so it just was like, well, if I can't do this thing I love, I might as well do this other thing. Yeah. Right. And so that's kind of how it happened. And, you know, I might have sprinkled a few days in there where I was like, Mom, my stomach hurts, so I could stay home and make YouTube videos. So I might have leveraged that a little bit to get some more videos out the door. Yeah. But I mean, it was just kind of natural. It's literally just doing nothing in bed. Like, because some days you're just in so much pain, you can't really move.
And you were an introverted kid, right? I mean, I think you're still, I guess that doesn't really change, right? So I know. Yeah. Jimmy and I, he came to our studio in Burbank. We had an amazing time. And we've talked a decent amount since. But from what I've heard, and we were just talking to Steele about this, that even, I believe your baseball coach was like, I don't think I heard Jimmy say like more than 2 sentences at any point.
Yeah, people thought I was mute. We didn't have the best upbringing. Like, my parents were in the military, and I was just raised with my mom, who was always working because we didn't have tons of money. So like most of my life, I was just kind of home alone. Yeah. And we were moving a lot, like from Kansas to like Atlanta to Germany for a little bit to here because they were in the military being stationed. So yeah, I had no social skills. I also had horrible acne growing up. So like when I was 15, I was like skin and bones, so I could barely move some days. Gosh. And I had like 50 pimples all over my face to the point where that was kind of like my identity. It was just like, why don't you wash your face? And I'm like, I don't know why I have so many pimples, which I think was correlated to the Crohn's disease because, you know, if you have problems in your gut, it shows up on your skin. Literally my face, when you looked at me, all you would see is pimples. I'm skin and bones, and I have no energy. And my whole life, I just never really socialized much. So it was like literally, if you're like, this is what not a YouTuber would look like, it would be me in a nutshell. But like, if you saw me at that age and you could bet like $100 million that I wouldn't be a YouTuber, you would take that bet 100 out of 100 times.
And that's incredibly inspiring because I think a lot of people out there, especially a lot of young people, are like, I can't be Mr. Beast. I can't be
you can.
a YouTuber, right? Like, or whatever their dream is, because maybe they're insecure about their looks, they're dealing with some sort of health issues, or maybe they're introverted.
It literally doesn't get any worse than I was. Like, I really didn't have any friends. Like I said, tons of pimples, no money, no like dad. It was just like my mom who was working all the time. Like it's a miracle I'm here. But that's where once we dive deeper, it's because I mean, it was just 10 years of relentless working every hour, every day. And not just working hard, but also working smart. And I do think if anyone put in the amount of time I did from the age of 13 to 24, they might not make what I make now, but you will be able to do what you love full time. There's just no world you invest this much time every day for over a decade and you're not making at least 100 grand a year. You know what I mean? Right. At least majority of the time, you know what I mean? Which is what I'd love to dive into.
Yeah, definitely. Let's dive into it. I mean, for me, what's fascinating is that you have this, you know, Crohn's disease can be really debilitating. Yeah. You're going through that. Like you said, you're making YouTube videos on the side. And in the beginning, your YouTube videos didn't have your face on it, right? Like you were avoiding that.
I didn't want it because I had so much acne.
Yeah. So you're making content. When people find out you're making content, you quit your YouTube channel. Like you like delete every video.
Even worse. Yeah. I had a channel before Mr. Beast, and after 2 years of doing it, I deleted the channel because like some of my friends started watching it that I had at the time. And I was like, oh, no. And so I just got rid of it. I was that introverted and shy. I was like, please, no one watch these. And then I started back up again because I missed it. And that was the Mr. Beast channel.
How did you know there was something to study? Because I think a lot of people create stuff, they hope it will do well, they throw it out on the internet, and then when it doesn't do well, they just go, oh, you know, the algorithm, or you know, like, I'm not as good looking as that person, whatever, right? We create excuses. How did you know, A, there was something to study, and B, how did you learn to study it? Because I think that's almost more fascinating than what you study.
Videos don't just randomly go viral. It's not like it's just like a little blindfold throwing a dart. That video gets views. So it was just like a quest for like knowledge on like why this video over a very, very long time. I can't point to any time specifically. You know, the biggest thing for me was when I was 18, I met some other just lunatic small YouTubers. Like these 3 guys who also had 10,000 subscribers, same size as me, but they were all just like me. They spent their whole lives doing this, but none of us made enough money to do it full time. And we just started doing mastermind calls every day. And so every day, literally right when we woke up, this was right when I graduated high school, we would get up and we just get on a Skype call and we just obsess over YouTube. We'd just find something to study. We'd be like, okay, well, we think people watching longer makes a video do better. Well, how do you make people watch longer? Well, you make this. And then you'd have like the little pyramid chart and it'd go and it'd go and it'd go. And next thing you know, you're like 20 layers deep and there's like a million things to study. And it's like, well, we think getting them to click is important. Well, what does that mean? And we would just do that every day. And every single day for 1,000 days in a row, we got on a call on Skype and we just found things to study. We would roast each other's videos, we'd tell each other what we could do better. In that 3-year span, that 1,000 days, I learned what I probably would have learned in like 3,000 or 4,000 days, just because I had all those other guys going equally as hard. And then whatever they learned or new hacks they found or like ways to make better videos, they would teach me and vice versa. And we were all just learning together.
Wow.
And it's not even like they were huge YouTubers or they're bigger. We were all like the same size, all 10K, and we all hit 1 million subscribers like within the same month, which isn't a coincidence. Like it's just because we were all helping each other. And so that was the big turning point for me. Cause like from like 11 to 18, when I was doing YouTube, never got any views. No one cared. And a big part is I just didn't have anyone to talk to. And so it was all just me in my head, just alone in my room all day, every day. If I try to talk to other people, you're too obsessed, you're a nerd, like stop talking about anything else. And I'd be like, I just wouldn't know. Like, you know, some people when I was younger would talk about South Park or whatever other shows were on. And I just would, like, I didn't find that entertaining. And I also didn't listen to music when I was a teenager because I thought it was a waste of time. So people would be talking about the new songs that come out, the new South Park episode, and they'd always like try to get my like take on it. And I just like wouldn't know what to say. I'd be like, you know, because like you say it a couple times, like, I don't think South Park's good. And then they're like, what? Like, what's wrong with you? And I'm just like, but I feel like that might be a little bit more accepted now. I feel like the whole entrepreneur grind. But back then, that was just kind of a thing. So it was like, it was just easier not to talk to anyone because I just didn't enjoy doing what people my age did.
What I want to know from you, though, is you had this obsession with studying virality. Yep. Why is virality important to you personally?
Depends what stage of my life. Right, right now it's important because I have, you know, hundreds of people that depend on me and their families and, you know, even my mom and other people like that. So, you know, I got to maintain the business so I can pay my people. But back then, I really just wanted to do it full time. And like, well, how do you do it full time? You got to pull enough views. And so that's what naturally led it to that. And I also wanted to retire my mom. She was like the first person I hired because I knew she hated her job. So it's just like everything in life, right? Whether I want to be my own boss, I want to do whatever I want to do. Like I want to have fun with my friends. I want to be able to retire my mom or hire my mom, whatever, do YouTube. It all pointed to just get views and everything you want in life will kind of happen. You know what I mean? So it was just like this clear, easy goal. This is what I want. And that's what sucks though. It's because from 11 to 18, I just obsessed over YouTube. And then when I graduated high school, I actually wasn't making enough to do it full time. Like I remember I graduated and I remember like, it almost makes me tear up. I remember like crying like one night because I wasn't making enough to do YouTube. And like the thought of like, I was literally considering going and getting a job at Hardee's to like make a little bit of extra money to buy more equipment. And the thought of like having to do anything besides YouTube, like just made me so depressed because I just wanted to sit around and just make videos. I was like, it might take 10, 20 years. Just let me keep going. I'm doing this. But my mom's like, well, no, either go to college or move out. I'm not just going to pay for you to sit in a room and, you know, chase this fairy tale dream, which makes sense because if I go to college, then I can get a degree and get a real job if it doesn't work out, whatever. So that's when things like clicked. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm 18. I'm only making like $200 a month. And I have to like go to college or do something. Something's got to happen now or I'm just going to, I don't know, I'm not going to be able to have this dream. So then I just started, because you have like 3 months summer, like not even sleeping, like every hour of the day. I'm like, it's do or die. It's like this or, because I had horrible grades in high school. I mean, it's not like I'm going to, you know, go get a normal job. So it's like, this is it. And I'm going like 15 hours every day. And, you know, college comes around, I'm still not making enough, but it's like up to like 1,000, 2,000. So it's getting much better a month. And then like, I went to like college for like 2 weeks. It's a community college, not much money. And I remember just like sitting there one day, and I just was like, the teacher was literally just reading out of the book. Like he was literally reading it. And I'm like, why? Like, why am I here? Like, what is this? I hate this with it. And I just got up and left. I just didn't go. But I still wasn't making enough to move out. Cause like, even if you make $2,000 in a month, you don't know if you're gonna make $2,000 the next month. Like $2,000 is not enough to like, be like, peace, mom. So then I just every day I would act like I was going, and then I just sit in my car, edit videos, and I was just like, I'm going all out. I don't care. I can't. You know, me and my mom would argue a lot, and I'd just be like, will you do my homework for me? And she'd be like, no, that's not how this works. I was like, well, I'm not doing it then. I can't. I'd literally rather sleep in a box outside. Wow. And then thankfully I had a month where I made $20,000. And then that's when I told my mom, I was like, yeah, I just made $20,000. And I moved out the next day. And thank gosh it worked out.
Yeah. What was the difference in feeling in hitting 100 million subscribers and retiring your mom?
Retiring mom felt much better. I think like as I get bigger, the more I realize like subscribers is literally just a vanity metric. I actually don't even care that much. Less than 1% of your views come from people clicking their sub box and then clicking on your videos. Most of your views come from homepage or suggested. Right. So like that number actually means nothing. It's like the only reason you would care is if you have just like a giant ego and you're just like, look, this number means I'm cool. So actually the bigger the number's gotten, the less I care. Like when I was younger, I'd check that 20 times a day. And now I check it maybe like once a month. I'm like, oh, cool. We gained a couple million subscribers. Like it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? What matters is that we make the best videos possible and that people enjoy our videos. Yeah. Because if you do that, the number will go up. And I've kind of like learned throughout time. I used to obsess over different things. I want to make this money so I can hire these people, do these videos. I want to like, I want to have a high sub count. I want to have this. I want to have that. But what I've kind of realized for being a YouTuber is like everything you want will come if you just obsess over making the best videos possible. You'll make more money. You'll get more views. You'll get more subscribers. You'll get more recognition from your peers. You'll get whatever it is you crave. If you just make great videos, you'll get it. And so like ever since I pointed my focus on that and only that, everything just kind of exploded.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah, it reminds me that Jay and I actually went to a party to celebrate you that you weren't at. Wait, so that's how obsessive you are.
Oh, really?
So, Jay sends me a text and he goes, hey, there's a Mr. Beast Rolling Stones party because you made the cover of the magazine.
Text me from that,
yeah. And then we get to the party. I'm looking around. I'm like, where's Jimmy? And then I send you a picture of like this huge cover that was blown up by the pool. And I'm like, we're here. Where are you? And you're like, I'm recording a video working. You're like, get back to work. And I literally turned to Jay. I was like, maybe we should just leave and go like make some more videos or something, Yeah. So there's that level of obsession that you have. That's incredible. So now that you are running like this big business empire, do you kind of miss the days? Like when did you find more enjoyment and satisfaction? Like was it almost like more fun and creative when you didn't have so many people depending on you versus now like you being the CEO of multiple companies?
I think everyone has this like grass is greener on the other side like thing in their head. Everyone always romanticizes the come up, but like even I catch myself sometimes like, man, this is so much easier when it's just me in my room. But it's like, no, it wasn't. I was making $100 a month and struggling for money and like literally stressed out of my mind 24/7 because I didn't know what I'd do after high school. Like that sucked. You know what I mean? So I think most people, if they really think about it and actually role play the moments in their mind, they would rather be where I'm at now than on the come up, obviously.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
But you still live in your studio. You don't live like a lavish lifestyle or anything. That's just never been an important part to you.
Yeah, and that's where, but I think it's important you try that stuff to know. Like I bought an i8 for a couple months one time, which is like a nice car. And I didn't care. It literally did nothing. So I sold it. And I tried living in a nice house and like I didn't buy one. I just like kind of like rented one. And I didn't like after a week, I was like, there's just so many empty rooms. Why do I care? Even like designer clothes, like being around other YouTubers, they always used to wear like $5,000 shirts or whatever. So I was like, oh, maybe that's cool. I'll try it. And then I bought it and I was like, oh, this is lame. And then someone robbed my house and stole all my stuff. So they got rid of all my designer clothes for me, which was actually very convenient because I didn't want them anymore. And I didn't really know, like, do you give like a Gucci shirt to like Goodwill or something? I don't know what you do with it. Yeah, I think it's important you try all that stuff. So then you actually know like, oh, this is pointless. Who cares? You know what I mean? But if I didn't, in the back of my mind, I would be like, oh, maybe having a fast car would be cool or, having a mansion would be nice. You know what I mean?
I want to go back a little bit because you were saying that you always like to give value, like to share ideas with people to help them do better. And there was something you said on the Joe Rogan Experience where you said that you'd love to go into depth on this, but you didn't. Yeah. And it was, what's the difference between a 1 million view video and a 30 million view video?
Yes.
And you said, oh, I want to go into depth on this, but then it never went there. So I was like, we have to ask you that.
Weirdly enough, a lot of people would think the difference is that the 30 million view video, like sometimes some people will say like, well, they just put in 30 times the effort, or it was like 30 times this or whatever. Usually the difference between 1 million views and a 30 million views at the forefront is just it's a way better idea, right? If I just dump water on 1 million Orbeez, right? So I just had a barrel with 1 million Orbeez and I just pour water in it. That got 1 million views. And then I had a different video where I took 1 million Orbeez, I filled my friend's car and then pushed off a cliff and gave him a new one. Or even just filled his car. So it's kind of similar. Just same 1 million Orbeez, but one's just me dumping water, just going, look, the Orbeez blew up. Then this one where I'm surprising my friend with his car full of 1 million Orbeez, even though it might be rude, but I would buy him a new one, but whatever. Like, that's so much more interesting. That's just a better idea. Both require 1 million Orbeez. Both are relatively the same effort. Like, maybe the car one is a little bit more effort, but that's like an example of a video that could get 30 times the views of the other one. And so I think at its foundation, it's just a better idea. It's more interesting. And better ideas don't always mean more work, which I think once that clicks in your head, you're like, oh, I should brainstorm ideas more.
Yeah, I love that.
The kind of questions that you asked when you came to my studio, I was telling Jay about this. You just think different. Like most people want to see, oh, the cool studio sets and what the office is like. Your question was like, I want to see what the ideation process is like and how those creative meetings happen. And I was like, that is such a smart question. So the way that you think is just so different than everyone else, and I think has led to your success. But I can't help but think that there must also be so much pressure that comes with being number one, right?
Oh, of course.
And so you're number one literally in every chart. No matter what you do, it seems to be number one. You do a podcast is number one. Like your video views, number one. You launch a burger, like whatever it is. So how do you overcome like that? Is there like an anxiety that comes with being number one where you have a fear of losing it? And how do you keep outdoing yourself as well?
Yeah, that's a great question because like for the main channel, every video gets at least like 50 million views now. Right. So like everything we film in these videos, every single frame, 50 million people are going to see, sometimes upward to 200 million. So like there is a lot of stress with that because like if we film something I don't like it, it's like, gosh, a lot of people are going to see it. Or like if I have a video that only gets 30 million views, my channel's dying. And Twitter loves to tell me that. Everything has to be like perfect, great. Yeah. Or if I just have like one scene, one video that's a little off, like, I'll get thousands of comments and thousands of tweets of people just being like, yeah, this isn't your best work, or Mr. Beast is getting lazy or whatever, which is fine. I don't, it's part of it. You probably don't want to be in the spot I'm in unless you just enjoy the pressure because it's everything. People read in, like even like if Carl's like in TwitchCon for a video, so we film a video and he just couldn't make it. People are like, theorizing, Carl's out the gang. Mr. Beast is replacing Carl. Oh my gosh.
With Dhar and Jay.
He got lazy. This 10-second bit was a little worse. Also, this channel's dying. It got 30 million views.
Gosh.
Or whatever. So like every little thing too, people like to take out of context or whatever. We're doing things that have never been done before, but people have also normalized to it. So like me giving away $1 million now is like the equivalent of anyone else giving away 10 grand.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know. People just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Not that they don't care, but they're just like, it's just normal. You know what I mean? So everything we do, but I also like to just naturally make the videos bigger and bigger, but they're already bigger. And then I do something like Squid Game, and I'm like, oh, that was cool. And then now I want to do every video like Squid Game. And so, yeah, it's a lot. The answer is a lot of pressure, nonstop.
Yeah. And, I'm just curious as to how you overcome that. Because I remember when I was first started filming, I was in my videos and I would see some mean comments and I would be like, am I even on the right career path? Like, I'm sure there's a lot of young people that are so terrified as to like what their peers and classmates think. Even like adults, right? You're just constantly worried about this judgment. And I think that's what's preventing people from like even going after their dreams or having them quit too early. So how do you even overcome like that pressure?
I mean, for me, it's been like this the last 6 years, every hour of every day. So I'm just kind of used to it.
Yeah.
It's almost like weird when I don't touch my phone for a couple hours and I don't feel stressed. That feels abnormal to me, which is not healthy and I wouldn't recommend it, but that's just the life I've created.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not, if I was like, oh, we found a way to do this more efficient, so I have a couple extra hours. So I'm like, okay, let's start a gaming channel. I just, naturally, it's in me to like push and hyper optimize my time to like just do more things.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's ever going to be a world where I'm not stressed 24/7, but it's all self-induced. Like no one's forcing me to do a reaction channel. No one's forcing me to run a charity or a gaming channel or have a virtual restaurant or a snack brand or the main channel or the other stuff we're working on.
Gosh, that's a long list of things right there.
Exactly. So it's like, but, or even like do this podcast, you know, like I don't know. Like my whole life, I've just felt like I always love optimizing my time to get the most out of it. Like that, weirdly enough, is one of the things that bring me joy. Like, all right, if I sleep 8 hours, I got 16 hours. How can I derive the most amount of value out of this 16 hours as possible? Okay, well, so I don't lose my mind, I probably got to set aside like 2 hours to watch TV at the end of the day and decompress. All right, how do I get the most out of those 14 hours? Go. And that's weirdly like very fun to me to like treat my life like an experiment and try to get as much value as possible.
Yeah.
But for most people, I would say just you don't really need to read every comment. You just kind of like need to derive the overall majority. Because like a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll read 200-300 comments and they'll remember like the 2 or 3 negative ones. Right? Yeah. You could read 50 comments in a row that are like, this is a great video. I love you. You put in a lot of effort. I appreciate you. And then just one that goes, honestly, this felt a little lazy. Like, I think you could do better. And that's the only one you're going to remember if you're not aware of that, like how your brain naturally works. And so I think it's important that when you read feedback online, you just try to get the overall consensus and not hyperfixate on one, which is very hard for us to do. Because then you'll put your phone down and you're just going to subconsciously think about that one negative comment.
Have I fallen off? Am I gaining weight?
Yeah, exactly. You're
is this a bad haircut?
The 50 nice ones before that, you don't remember them. You just don't. And so that I think is the skill set to reduce that stress and pressure is like, how do you measure? Because feedback is important. You might actually have just made a bad video that your core audience doesn't like. So you need feedback. It's not like you can just never read comments, never read tweets. It's just like the skill set that I think is very important is how do you derive what the overall opinion is, not one. Because 90% of creators I meet, just one bad comment or tweet can just ruin their whole day.
I love the breakdown that you gave of how you structure your days because mine's the same as yours, except trade the TV time for meditation. And so I was like, I can relate to that. It's the same. I have 14 hours a day or whatever it is to get my work done. And we were talking about that. We literally finished taping a podcast last night at 6 p.m.
Oh, really?
We went home, got changed, jumped on the red eye. We'd been working all day, slept for like 2 hours on the plane on the way over. Slept like 2 hours when we got here. So we slept
That's what I love. I love to hear it.
Slept like 3 hours. We traveled coach. And then we jumped in a car to come to you, which was 1.5 hours. And we were like, only for Mr. Beast would I not work for the last 12 hours on the way here. We were working in the car.
I was still like final approving videos and thumbnails.
But when you get home after this, you're
so fulfilled.
Exactly. You're never going to regret grinding like this.
So fulfilled. And that's what I wanted to ask you. Like, he took us to his apartment in this beautiful studio. And you took us to your apartment and we're just looking around and we saw this picture. And what I love about this is that on first look, Dhar and I both believed it was real until we realized there was a picture of you, Elon Musk, and Steve Jobs, who's obviously not here anymore. But on first impression, it looked really real. You're like, wow, you're playing poker with Elon Musk and Steve, right?
For context, I have a Photoshop picture where it's me, Elon, and Steve Jobs all playing. It's actually Catan.
Oh, Catan.
We're playing Catan.
Oh, I love Catan.
Oh,
I
really?
Didn't see that.
We're playing tonight.
That would be amazing.
Did you start playing?
No,
but Catan is so good. Catan is so good.
Is that the game that you were showing me on your phone, or
Settlers of Catan?
I've never played it digitally. I played the board.
Yeah, we only play board. But I love Catan.
Yeah,
like anything with strategy. All right, I don't. Just Steele. He's not in here. Someone remind us Catan after this. Anyways, so you were talking about the
my skills are based on what Lily Singh taught me. So Lily Singh taught me how to play Catan. So that's where my skill level is.
Okay, well then I'm going to destroy you. I've probably played 1,000 games of Catan. Anything with strategy and competitive, I love. And that when I found a board, because like Risk is too luck-based and Monopoly obviously is very luck-based. So I never really got into that stuff. Chess, the problem with chess is the better you are is directly correlated to the amount of time you put in. And I don't like games like that because then it's just like, okay, well, if you beat me, that just means you have more time than me. Like, what do you want me to say? Whereas Catan, there's definitely a ceiling, and then it's just like, it's a good mix of strategy and luck where it's not like you have to play 10 hours a day to be good. So that's why I like it. Anyways, the photoshopped image of Elon and Steve.
Going back to that question. Okay, now I have 2 questions. So the first question is, Elon, Steve, and you play Catan. Who wins and why?
Well, probably me, because Steve's dead, and I don't even know if Elon's played.
Fair answer. Second question. I love Steve Jobs. So when I saw Steve all over your wall and stuff, like, For me, the biography that Walter Isaacson wrote was unbelievable. I interviewed Walter Isaacson about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was.
Can someone send that to me after this? That sounds great.
It was so fun to talk to him about it because I was just like,
and he's writing one on Elon right now.
Correct. Yeah, and he spent so much time with Steve Jobs personally during that. Steve never gave his blessing, but he was aware of everything that was written. When did you get into Steve Jobs? What did you use? What was it about his life that stands out to you? Because he's such a big icon that kind of, it's one of those names that's easy to throw around, like, I like Steve Jobs.
Of course.
But I genuinely believe I'm obsessed with Steve and know a lot about his life, and I feel like
I got you. I'm following the same boat.
Yeah.
I think we should preface this by saying, just because you look up to someone doesn't mean you approve of everything they've ever done.
Right. Good disclaimer.
Yeah, because I think Steve, well, it's just in general, I think Steve would have been more successful if he was nicer to his employees. Like, I think all that was a negative, so to put that out there, and I don't look up to that part of him, but it's also impressive that what he accomplished with all that fighting against him. It's like, because it's hard to be as successful as he was in a perfect scenario. And he literally created all these things that were working against him. But yeah, his just unrelenting obsession with making the greatest product possible. And I love like when he came back and he just axed everything but 4 products. And they just like went hard, and they just wouldn't release something unless he thought it was perfect. And just, even like the touchscreen and just having the vision and believing your vision, even if people think you're crazy. That's a lot how I like to look at YouTube is like our Squid Game video. Like we spent $4.2 million on that. We've never had a video make anywhere near $4.2 million. Wow. But, I just wanted to go all out. And I just, really believed if we make the best product possible, people watch it. Like the video got 300 million views, but if you based it on our previous videos, you would have thought it would have got like 50, And so we took a huge gamble there. And we take tons of huge gambles where I just, so a lot of times in the past, especially when we first started up, I'd bet every single dollar in my bank account on just like making a great video. And I'm just like, there's just no world people don't watch it, right? If we go do this, we put this effort in, it's just 30 times better than what's out there. How is there a world where someone else's video is going to get recommended over this? Is kind of my mindset, a lot of it. And so I just love his unrelenting obsession with just making the best product possible. And that's what I want to apply that mindset to YouTube and just do that same thing for videos. Because he wasn't obsessed with like making money or whatever, the stock price or anything. He was just obsessed with making great products, and he created the most valuable company in the history of the world. And like, I think that works no matter what you're doing. If you just obsess over making the greatest product possible, like in the long run, you'll beat out anyone else who worries about other stuff.
I think what's fascinating, even hearing you speak, is just this idea of like this great balance between passion and proficiency, right? It's, you keep saying, I'm doing what I love. But then you're getting really optimized at it, like getting really effective at it. And I think that's what I find fascinating, because I think we hear a lot about follow your passion and like do what you love. But then if you never get good at it, if you never think about, I have to build a team, so I have to learn how to lead. And I remember the one time we spoke on the phone, that's what we spoke about. Like that was a couple of years back.
That was so long ago.
Yeah, that was a couple of years back. And we were on the phone, and I remember you saying that to me. You were like, hey, I'm building teams and I'm learning how to lead. And I was thinking, the fact that you're even thinking about that shows how much it's not just about, I know how to get views and I make videos. It's like, no, I'm actually thinking bigger and better. But it's amazing because that's the part that's unseen. We see the videos, we see the 300 million views, but today we've got to see the operation and a small
fraction of the operation.
A small fraction of the operation, but the people behind that. And I think that that's what I really want our listeners and viewers to zone in on today, is that you're working on a lot more than just the next video.
Of course. You know how they say it takes 10,000 hours to master something? Like I think in the like doing something for a career, or whatever you would call being successful or whatever, throw that out the window. I think it's just like 10 years of just obsession. It's very hard if you're doing it intelligently, right? If I just sat there for 10 years and I never made videos and I just watched YouTube videos and that was my obsession, and then after 10 years I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go, I wouldn't be successful. But if you spend 10 years of your life obsessed, like strategically obsessed, like you're working hard, but you're also working smart, you're studying, you're surrounding yourself with other like-minded people, not that are making tons of money, just maybe even if they're on the same playing field, you're putting in the hours, you're being intelligent, you're staying up to date with what's in your field, and you're like really, because I don't want people to think it's just like the fact you put 10 years in it. It's also got to just be intelligently invested time and knowledge, and also just rolling up your sleeves and doing the thing. And if you do that over the course of 10 years, it's just very hard for someone to come out the other end, not like, I don't know, semi-successful in that field. This is advice for like the average person, right? You're going to find anomalies where someone hates what he does and is, makes hundreds of millions of dollars and blah, blah, blah. But on average, you have to love what you do, because it's going to take you a long time frame, like 10 years, to get where you can do it for a job. And if you don't love what you do, you're going to quit after year 2 of not making money, or year 3 or year 4. And that tends like an average. Some people it's going to take you 20 years. Some it's going to take 5. You know what I mean? It's very hard to find someone who grinded content for 10 years, surrounded himself with other like-minded people, really worked intelligently and smart, and like tried to improve something every single video. They improved something, and they just were really obsessed over that long of a time frame, and isn't making it at least more than the average American. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think that's like the thing a lot of people need to hear. It's not like, all right, my story sounds fun. Oh, I just stopped going to college and made videos or whatever. Everyone's story sounds fun, but that's the harsh reality. If you're like 13 or 15 listening to this and you want to be like, do YouTube, there's a world where it's not till 25 you actually make more than the average American. And that's if you work hard, intelligently, and surround yourself with the right people. And if you hear that and you're like, okay, bet, then you should probably do it. If that scares you and you're like, oh, well, I don't know if I want to do it, then you probably shouldn't, right?
Yeah, it's great perspective.
Yeah, because I was willing to do it until the day I died. I didn't care.
Same,
yeah, I was like, you know what? I could be 60 and I'm still going to be doing it. Like, I don't care if I do it for 40 years and I'm still not making enough money. I'm going to go another year, you know? And that was like, I truly believed that. And, you know, after 7 years, I still wasn't making any money. And I kept going. And so, like, imagine when I was 18, I graduate, I listen to everyone around me, and I'm just like, oh, well, wasn't meant to be, right? I wouldn't be here. And so I think that's very important.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible just, you know, hearing you share all this knowledge with us. And also, I think you're really helping to break the stereotypes of how YouTubers are seen. Like, essentially, you're the face of YouTube, which I'm sure comes with a lot of responsibility.
I guess.
But, you know, it's before there was more so like a lot of parents saying like, oh, you can't take YouTube serious as a career, right?
Oh, they still say it now.
It's still said, I think it said less than like when we were growing up.
Yeah.
But I think you've come to show that like, not only can you take YouTube and create a massive business beyond just content, but also with launching products and businesses, and then also with philanthropy. Like, whatever your end goal and your passion is, like you could accomplish it through content creation. And that's why, like, my recommendation to any young people is always try to find a way to like build audience, right? If you're interested in launching any business, because ultimately that's a way that you could market your products. And the formula that I believe that you also follow so well is, first you create content, then that content is used to build community, and then you use that community to create commerce. And then you launch all these different products that your community actually cares about. So you have all these products out there. Is there a next product that's on your mind that you could talk to us about?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things I want to do. Because we have like the largest gaming show in the world, and we get like 10 million views a video. And so obviously I want to buy a mobile gaming studio and make mobile games. There's a lot of things I want to do. So it's, like 2 to 3 years if we sit down here, it's going to be completely different.
We're going to have you on every season.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I do at Colin Smear. I go on once a year. And it's funny to look back because every year it's like so different. It's like this one year I'm like, I'm just trying to figure out how I can do this video. And the next year it's like, I'm trying to figure out how to manage 1,000 restaurants. And then now it's like Feastables and stuff. I mean, Feastables is going to launch. We're going to do cookies for our next product, try to make healthier, better for you cookies. I mean, Beast Burger. We're building our first physical restaurants. I mean, everything. It's just like, the beauty is I don't care to make money. So it's like Beast Burger, if you hypothetically do 90 million in a year in revenue, just take the profit and go build restaurants. Like Feastables, if you do revenue and you make a couple $1 million, just go build the next product. Like, I don't care. And so that's kind of the fun part, is I just like finding these guys. Like, our guy in charge of Feastables helped build RX Bar, which sold, and he's a genius. Like, he just understands the market. He's already built a company like this before, and he's great. So I like to find these geniuses that have tons of experience and just crush it in their industry, and then just be like, you know, here's a couple $1 million. I have a large fan base. Let's build something dope and just reinvest the money forever. And it seems to be a good formula.
I just can't help but wonder, like, the way that you're scaling and how fast you're growing. Eventually, I'm guessing, I mean, this is going to either lead to a public company, or it's going to lead to some acquisition or something, or I guess you could run it yourself. But so what happens when you have like a board of directors now that are sitting with you and says, Jimmy, you went over budget on this video. Like, we're going to have to.
Well, I mean, FaZe Clan went public, and that was really cool to see, because they're just below $1 billion. I don't know. When this goes up, there might be a couple hundred lower, a couple 100 million higher, whatever. But in general, they went public. It's being well received. So yeah, there is a world we might go public one day, but I will never do anything where people can tell me what I have to do. And it also, like, if Mr. Beast went public, it's like Mr. Beast is me. So it's like, you know, that wouldn't be authentic if there's a board that could tell me.
You wouldn't hire a John Scully that could kick you out.
Well, there's like things like the guys who founded Google. They have like Class A shares where like one share is like 10,000 times more voting rights than a normal share. So even though they don't own much of the company, they still control it. So like, obviously we would do something like that. You know what I mean?
So you've hit the 100 million on YouTube. So is 100 million on TikTok next?
Yeah, that's what I want to do. We've been going hard over there. It's like, it's just a different world, but it's fun. It's like filming TikToks is actually a lot of fun. Because they're just so, like, the main channel videos take multiple days to film, and it's like all this, you know, it's like, oh man, if I mess up, it's millions of dollars gone, and it's, you know, 100 people on certain sets. Whereas the TikTok, it's like our newest little thing we did is we the minion trend. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Where, like,
That was so dope. That was so fun.
So we just got like 100 people, and we went to like watch the Minions, and I just got them all free movie tickets, and we were all wearing suits. And it took like 30 minutes to do. It's just like, hey, you know, calling a bunch of people that showed up in the movie theater in suits, and that was funny. And then that blew up. That was actually the most like TikTok on the platform that week, #1.
Wow,
and so then we did the follow up. We're like, okay, if you get us 2 million followers, get us 2 million more
42
followers.
42 million.
Or I'm going to kill the world's largest minion. And then the next TikTok was the world's largest minion. And then us with swords. And you're like, get us there or he dies. And then like 3 days later, we didn't hit the goal. We were like just short. So
I've never seen you not hit a goal, by the way.
I know.
I was shocked. I was like, I wonder if that affected Jimmy in any way.
No,
Did it?
I kind of didn't want to hit it because I wanted to kill big games over here. I didn't, like, I purposely didn't try too hard to hit it. And then we didn't hit it. And then it's a TikTok of us just slicing the world's largest minion, like super tall, in half, and like, you know, stabbing it. And like, so that was just goofy. Like that on YouTube just wouldn't make any sense. Like what did I just explain to you guys? It made no sense. But like on TikTok, people love it. And the algorithm's good at like, oh, well, they like this one, they'll serve part 2, part 3, part 4. And so it's like, the cool part is like, we can do like little, just stupid, idiotic series over there. And it's nice to get that little, just, I don't know a good word for it, but just that weird creative energy out. Because like my main channel is so serious, I can't really do that, you know? And so it's a good outlet for that. But yeah, ideally this time next year we have 100 million on TikTok as well.
I want to get
next year.
Well, I want to try
to. I'm trying to get an extra million followers by next year. You know. You know what the hard part for me is, like, YouTube takes so much planning, right? And you're probably thinking months ahead. You're probably already thinking about your Christmas content or end of year. But TikTok, you have to be in the moment. And sometimes for me, I have a hard time transitioning from like long-term thinking and planning to being able to say, hey, I'm going to stop running a company now and like everything I have to go focus on building this minion, and like, because you don't want to miss the trend either. So how do you like find the time to jump on things so quickly on TikTok?
Well, that's where you build a team around it. That's kind of obsessing over that, because we basically... So every Monday I do gaming. So that's a couple hours. We'll film our gaming videos for the week. And then after that, we'll film a bunch of Reacts videos. And then like Tuesday, in ideal world, it doesn't always work out like this, but that's when we'll do Beast Philanthropy, TikToks. So like I'll go work at the charity, film the video there so it gets revenue. Then TikToks. And then like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. In an ideal world, again, it gets meshed up. It's like filming main channel. So from the time I get up to the time I go to bed, like Wednesday would be the day before. The day before is always like doing walkthroughs, making sure things are perfect. And then it would be Thursday, Friday filming, which turns into Thursday, Friday, Saturday filming, which then means Saturday's the day where I do Beast Burger Feastfuls and all my calls, which then means Sunday's the day where I do all my calls. But ideally, Sunday's the day where I just kind of do whatever I want. Like, it's just an open day where I can just do whatever I'm passionate about.
What do you do when you're having no work? It just depends.
Like, sometimes I like to go on like a 4-hour walk and just call random people. And I'll just go down my
I've gotten one of those calls before.
And I just harass people. I'm just like, so what'd you learn this week? What'd you learn this month? And sometimes I'll like wait for like a year. And then I'll be like, I'll just call someone and be like, what'd you do in the last year? Teach me, what'd you learn? And so those are fun. It's literally just a day to do whatever I want, you know, like passionate about, which sometimes ends up being work, like trying to figure out which countries like our content and don't speak English, so we should go into next to like build the audience, or other times it's literally just sitting in my backyard trying to meditate and see why people do it. You know what I mean? Like that's what I was doing 2 Sundays ago. I just was like challenged myself to like put my phone down. I just sat in the grass and do nothing for an hour and not think about
nothing. How did it go?
It was hard. It was very hard. It was fun.
We can work on it.
I felt good at the end. I felt like it's like my life is like this, so much crap getting thrown at me, and then it like kind of mellowed out. But then instantly, the second I picked up my phone, it went right back to it. Then I was like, well, does that kind of just defeat the purpose of it? Because it's just like a little break in the stress, but it doesn't actually fix it. You know? But anyways, it's like stuff like that.
We could literally talk to you.
I know.
This is so fun. Like, this is without a doubt the most fun I've had in such a long time. And I love it because we've been having so much fun doing this, but being with you is just electrifying. It's amazing.
Thank you.
In so many ways, like deeply, emotionally, but also just in terms of having fun.
Now I understand why I finished number 2 last year.
and I can't wait. I just can't wait to do this with you, like for years, and to just log this in as a team on this show. But we're gonna end with a rapid fire round.
There's gonna be a button in his room by next one for sure.
We're gonna end with a rapid fire round because I know I'm being mindful of the fact that you've got to go launch this massive video.
This 36 minutes we're up.
This will take 5 minutes. So we're gonna dive in. Should we do that?
Unless you had any other things. No, that was great. It was amazing.
Unless you feel you didn't share anything.
No.
Okay, all right, let's do it. All right, rapid fire with Mr. Beast.
So if you were to have dinner with Elon Musk and could only ask him one question, what would it be? Oh gosh,
I would probably ask him, how do you manage your thoughts, honestly? Because he has so many companies. Like, how does he just like organize his brain without it exploding?
If you could have shared anything with Steve Jobs, not a question, but shared something with him, what would you have said?
Oh God, I would just want to like the book, because obviously everything we know is secondhand. So I've seen every interview he's done. I've read his biography. I've seen all like 4 movies. I would more just be curious, like, is he actually how it's portrayed, or is it like just a little different? You know what I mean? Because like everyone, you know, even you guys sometimes, like, you're different when you're around your wife than you are when you're around us. Like, I'd love to see Steve in just a truly relaxed moment and then just pick his brain. You know what I mean?
So you're playing poker with 4 people.
Okay.
And so you're one, Steve Jobs the other, Elon Musk the third. Who's the 4th person?
Or Catan.
Yeah, Catan. Yeah. It's probably would be someone just weird. Like, have you ever heard of the podcast How to Rule the World or How to Take Over the World?
No.
Oh, it's a good podcast where it's like he just basically reads all the biographies of like people. So like he'll read every biography on Napoleon and then just make like a little 2-minute podcast about it. And he does that for people who. And so like there are actually some weird ones like Julius Caesar or like like someone like him, just like to pick his brain about like what life was like back then, and like you know, when he was like 23, he's like would compare himself to other people, or I don't know. It's like there are like a lot of weird, probably Julius Caesar. Weirdly enough, just because I just listened to that a couple of days ago, and how he just like basically conquered the entire known world and never lost a battle or anything like that. It's just very cool, you know, to pick his brain.
What happened when you tried lucid dreaming?
Honestly, that is something I regret not pursuing further, because I don't think it's as effective for like generating ideas, which is why I gave up. Like, because I wanted to get it where I could think of ideas. This is when I was really hyper optimizing my time. I wanted to brainstorm ideas while I was sleeping, because I hated that those 8 hours weren't producing much. And I found that it was just like, I don't know. I don't think it's as good at like doing work. Like, I think it's good for like maybe if you want to calm yourself down or dream about certain things, but like I found that I couldn't, shocker, make myself work in my sleep, so I kind of just stopped. So that was like the end of the journey for me.
So I know your goal is to give away all your money before you die, but before you do that, do you think you're going to be the world's richest man one day?
Well, the beauty is if you come into money at a young age, you have time to compound. So like even if I just like stopped, sold everything, and just like took all the ad revenue, invested it, like it's going to naturally grow over time. So there's a lot of advantage of coming into money at a young age, because compound is, like they say, the 8th wonder of the world. So I don't know if it's the richest. It's not even really my goal, but I think there's a world where, I'm up there just because I was so fortunate to come into this much attention and money at a young age. You know what I mean? But also, if I ever did have that kind of money, I probably would just start giving it away, because like there's no point in sitting on it. It's just like hard. Is it liquid money or is it in stock? Because if it's in stock, then you need to hold it so you own control of your company. So you can't. But if I had $100 billion laying around, like we'd probably do something like, you know, for the next year, no one's allowed to starve to death or, you know, on the planet. Because like, why not? You know?
Yeah. How'd you come up with the name Mr. Beast?
That was just like my Xbox Live gamer tag when I was younger. So it just like gives you a random name, and mine was like Mr. Beast 6000, and then I just dropped the 6000.
And you kept it because it just felt right.
Well, it's like all throughout the years, I used to be Beast, and then like at one point I was like Mr. Random, because my videos were so random. I was like, and then I was like, that's cringe. I went back to Mr. Beast 6000, then Beast 6000, then I dropped to 6000, then I went to Mr. Beast, and I was like, okay, this is cool, because there's a different channel called Beast. And so when you would search Beast, he would pop up before me. So I was like, crap. And so then I put the Mr. back on, and then I just kept it.
Nice.
I know we've asked about like the entrepreneurs that you look up to, but is there any dream collaboration with like an influencer or celebrity that you want to make happen?
Apart from Elon, obviously.
Yeah. You guys, right?
You're a sweetheart.
Maybe the Rock. I have this really cool idea I want to do, but I can't say what it is, obviously, because there's something I would love to surprise the Rock with. Here, come over here.
That'd be so dope.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun.
Amazing. That'd be so dope. We can make that happen. We should be able to make that happen.
Yeah, I'm trying to get in contact with this team. But yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, we should be able to make that happen. That's possible. I love that.
I'm sure he has like his kids or nephews or nieces that all watch you.
I'm
sure the
Rock We're working on it.
Yeah, I love it. All right. Is there an afterlife?
That's the most scary question of all, because if you don't believe in an afterlife, then if you die, as the light slowly fades out, you just see nothing forever. Like, that's terrifying. So I don't know, to be honest. Literally every hour of the day the last 5 years, I've just woken up and obsessed over how to make the best YouTube videos possible, which again isn't healthy, and I wouldn't recommend someone go this hard, but I physically haven't even put an ounce of brain power into thinking of that kind of stuff. And I do want to later in my life. I would love to study all religions and like travel the world and do that kind of stuff because it's interesting. But like you asking, that's probably the first time in 3 years I've even thought about like life after death. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'd probably, if there is, you'd probably be making YouTube videos.
There's a YouTube afterlife.
I'm curious just about, personal life, relationship life. Like, is there someone special? And if you don't feel like answering that, when do you see yourself settling down, and do you want to have kids?
Yeah, well, I have a girlfriend right now. She's great because she's weird like me. Her idea of a date would be like listening to a podcast or reading a book, which is very hard to find. So I'm happy. Kids, I don't know. I mean, maybe a dog. That sounds a little bit easier because I don't feel guilty if someone takes care of it for me in my off time. But no, I don't see a world where I have kids in the next 10 years. That's honestly, my answer would be a straight up no, except for the fact that Steve Jobs had kids, Elon's popping them out like crazy, Bill Gates has kids, like all these people that are very successful, even people who aren't even at the top, like all the way down the ladder, billionaires or just people who built cool things, all have kids. So it's like there's clearly something there. My answer over the last few years has gone from hell no, never to like, okay, well, maybe there's a reason,
Yeah.
I like the afterlife question because that really teed up something. I wanted to understand about, what's been your belief in God?
One day I really do want to study every religion on earth, but it's like kind of hard to be the top of your field while also putting that kind of, because like I'm not the kind of person that would just pick one and that's the religion. Like I would have to study every single one of them, come to my own conclusion, probably even take parts from certain ones. So it's like, I don't know. At some point we should just go on a, we get it still. At some point we should just go on a spiritual retreat.
Yeah, and final question, what's the best podcast you've ever been on?
This one, clearly, by far. Joe Rogan's here. Dhar and Jay. So I want to say Jay and Dhar. Dhar and Jay, way up here.
We love you, man. You are not only entertaining, you are an entertainer. And
Thank you.
We love this.
Appreciate it. Well, more importantly, I hope we added value to a lot of these kids' lives. Because I think like, a lot of people give advice and they make it very hyper-specific to them, or they like, well, I did this, so you do it and you'll be fine. I think like the advice we gave was very practical,
100%.
like not biased, or maybe a little biased, but like in general, this is some of the best advice you're ever gonna get. It's hard, it sucks. If you don't love it, you're not gonna do it for 5 to 20 years. That needs to be your takeaway. And like, if you can't picture doing what you're currently doing for the next 20 years and not making it, then like, there is a reality you won't, you know what I mean? And more than likely, I'd say the median's 10, but there's still a world where it could be 20, you know what I mean? And like, so you just got to accept that. And if you love something so much that you're willing to do it, I think go for it, go all in. I do think it'll work out eventually.
Yeah.
I love that.
Love that.
It's beautiful. Mr. Beast.
All right, here we go.